Hello everybody, welcome to another vlog and discussion video. Before we get too far into this, I just want to shout out and mention this. I have mentioned it on social media and through Facebook and Instagram and everything. Basically, I have now got a community page now for this channel. It serves for this channel, it also serves for my main channel. So if anybody is interested, I would post a link, but I actually have no idea how the hell you're supposed to post this page. It's really weird. I don't know if I've set up the right page, to be honest. I think I've set up a wrong page, but it's still free and it still serves as a community tab. Yeah, yeah. But anyway, so if anyone's interested, anyone that follows me, already, I know people are subscribed and everything, but if anyone's interested to keep up to date with my latest videos on both of my channels, this one and my main one, go to Facebook and just search in the search bar TF Knowlesy, and you will be then welcomed, hopefully, by me. I set it up literally yesterday. At the time of me making this video, it was yesterday that I set that up. I've posted a few videos of my latest few videos on my TF Knowlesy channel. They're up there already. I've got a few people that have liked it and are following along, which is very nice. And thank you if you're watching. Those people that have decided to follow me on there, thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy my future stuff. So let's get on to the point, and as it says there, talking about my childhood and talking about what growing up and reminiscing about those times. So I've just been for a little walk around, and I was like walking past areas that brought back some flashbacks and memories of when I was a little bit younger. And scarily enough, I'm probably going to be going back about 20 years now. And it's scary to think that I'm now at the point where I'm now 30 years old, and most of the stuff that I used to get up to was when I was probably about 20 odd years ago now. Yeah, it's quite scary to think things like that, to be honest. But yeah, there's like certain areas now coming to present day. Certain areas where I used to hang out there's some areas some places I used to hang around in my local area that are still accessible and have never changed in that time. But there are other areas as well where we used to play, we used to go and we used to hang out certain areas when I was with like friends and things like that, and which are no longer accessible. Things have changed, or they've put houses there now, so you can't access it anymore. And that's what made me reminisce about the times when I used to kind of go to those areas, and thinking about times when it was a lot more simpler and a lot more, I felt a bit more freer. And come to the present day now where I'm constantly stressed out about certain things and beating myself around the head viciously, pretty much and mostly every day to every other day, usually being my own worst enemy, as I always am. So basically I like to reminisce because it makes me feel better. And I thought it might be an interesting, cool subject for a little vlog. Now, this won't be a very long... Well, I don't want to make it too long, but I won't promise. This could be a bit of a long one. But, yeah. What did little Knowlesy get up to? This was before YouTube. Well, actually, no. YouTube would have been around when I was 10 years old. I think it started when I was about... No, when did YouTube start? I started my first YouTube channel in 2007. So I think it might have been about 2005, 2004. It might have been about that. So I think I might have been about 14, 15 when... No, I might have been about 13 years old when YouTube actually started as a thing, and it started to slowly increasing popularity. Google's been around for about 20 years, I think. But yes, so before my whole YouTube escapades, before that chapter of my life started, and when I was a kid, I live in Hessle. So this is this vlog, and what I'm about to talk about, my childhood and being brought up and everything. I was born in Hull. I was born at a now no longer there hospital on Holderness Road in Hull. Not Holderness Road, Heddon Road. Sorry, Heddon Road. There we go. And it's no longer there. It used to be an old, I think probably from the Victorian times, really old maternity hospital. And so I was born there in '89, and since then, me and my parents and my grandparents, my aunties, uncles, most of them at that point of time all lived in the same area. So it was a pretty close knit community, family community, really, at one point. Unfortunately, that has changed a little bit, but I'm not going to go into that kind of thing here because it's not for YouTube. But yeah, at one point it was, very a close knit family community at that point when I was a kid. And so yeah, I live in Hessle, and Hessle is not in Hull. Some people, I think I've mentioned this before, but some people. Whenever I introduce myself to somebody new or somebody says where you from, I always say I'm from Hull because it's easier. Because most people know where Hull is. If you're in England, most people know where it is and everything. So it's just easier to break the conversation barrier and all that stuff. It's just easier to say that. But Hessle is on the outskirts. There's actually a border where I am. I'm actually in East Yorkshire. I'm not in Hull. I'm actually in Yorkshire. I'm East Yorkshire. We're not, we're our own. We're part of the whole Yorkshire. So yeah. There's literally like a big notice board, and it says "Welcome to Hull." So that actually tells me that I am now in Hull, and where Tony lives, he literally lives just up the road from me, and he lives just past that border. So he actually lives in Hull because he's actually in Anlaby, which stretches right up into the Hull city centre. If you want to follow the road up past his house, so yes, so my childhood, being raised, growing up in Hessle, a small little town that is twinned with a little town in France. Apparently, I don't know. Apparently, we're twinned with another little town, little area in France. Apparently. So it's not a very big town. It's one of those towns where everybody knows everybody, kind of thing. That kind of like a close knit community, like I said. And so growing up, when I was a kid, there wasn't very much to do. There was a toy shop at top of the street. I used to congregate around there. I used to go in there after school at weekends all the time. I used to love it in there. No longer there, sadly, but I used to go in there. That was a fantastic toy shop. It was an independent one. It wasn't a Toy Master or anything like that. It was an independent toy guy, and he was there for, I think he was there for about he actually retired, but unfortunately, I don't know if he had kids or anything. I've no idea. But it didn't get passed down to anybody, so it didn't get continued. So when he retired, he just shut the shop up completely, which was quite a sad day for me because a lot of memories were made there. Going in there, getting my Pokemon cards, Pogs, Bionicles. Remember Lego Bionicles when they first came out? I used to get them from there. I used to get some Transformers from there. I used to get all sorts. They had figures from Dragon Ball Z in there. They had obviously Pokemon stuff, Pokemon cards. I got all my Pokemon cards from there. I got Pogs. I used to play Jacks at school as well. Marbles, everything. I used to get it all from there. They also had they had pretty much nearly all the Transformers toys, latest Transformers stuff as well. So this is actually a bit older than 10 years old. I was probably about 12 or 13. So this was when the Unicron trilogy was airing on TV. So when we had Armada, Cybertron, and Energon, and we actually had. I mentioned this in my review for Armada Megatron. It was a toy that I always wanted. I always wanted to get when I was a kid, and I never got it. I don't know why, but I just never did. And the big green tank and everything, and I used to pick it up and stare at this thing, and I never got it as a kid. So now that I've got it, it's actually very cool it's nice to look at that toy and think, wow, that brings me back to those simpler days of when that toy shop was open, and just brings back great memories as being in my childhood. So yeah, I never got it that toy originally, and they used to sell that. They sold most of the toys actually from that line at that time. So from that we used to, I used to have a friend called Chris, that I met at primary school, around about the same time as where I met Sam. So I used to go around to his house, and he literally lived across the road from our primary school, which was quite weird at the time. But we used to hang around where he used to live quite a lot, and he lives literally just a small little walk, about 10-minute walk up the road from me now. And so I used to hang around there. There used to be like a little play field at one point, and we used to play football or just chill out and mess around, be kids, And I remember when the bloody locals, bunch of idiots, can't stand people sometimes. Decided to put a no ball games bloody sign up because, unfortunately, some guy had his window put through with a football. Oh, so sorry. It won't me by it. It won't me, but and luckily I never smashed windows by accident. Luckily, but I think that was the reason why the no ball games was put in, because that did happen a few times. But we used to hang around there a lot. I used to have a push bike as well. I used to have a bike. I used to go jollying around on that. I used to go down Hessle foreshore. I literally Hessle foreshore, right when I was a kid, right through to now, it's always been my favourite place. Now, I have mentioned this many times and in previous videos, and I've even shown you in previous vlogs. If you haven't seen those vlogs, check the description below and I'll put the link to them. But I did a couple of vlogs where I actually showed Hessle foreshore and me walking around and kind of like showing you around and talking about the area and the place. And so it's at what we call, where I used to mostly go was a place called Little Swits. That's what the locals call it. But what it actually is, it's actually a nature reserve, like a little nature trail. And it connects, it's a nature trail that's part of the massive trail that starts at the Humber Bridge that follows through right up to Leeds and I think up to Manchester, I think. And it's just a massive trail that follows right up to there. So it starts off here on the Humber, and the trail literally just extends quite far up the train track, pretty much. At one time, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do the full trail and see how far I can go. But I used to hang around there a lot. I used to hang around the old mill. There's like an old chalk mill. So I used to hang around there a lot, and go in Little Swits, which is the nature trail park area. I used to love it in there because ever since being a kid, I've always been intrigued. I love animals, I love insects, I love nature, I love everything about that sort of environment ever since being a little kid. So that was a great place for me to like lose myself. And I was bullied a lot when I was a kid at school. Before I met any of my friends, I was a bit of a recluse. I was to myself. I was a Billy No Mates. I was very shy, very reserved. I couldn't talk to people. And when I met Sam, Sam was literally the first friend I ever truly made. And that was when I was about 6 years old. And then I met Chris about a year later. So I finally made two friends, and those were my friends that I went right through school with, right up to college actually. Obviously, I still talk to Sam. I don't see Chris very often anymore, but I do. Obviously, Sam has pretty much been there. He's still here now. Unfortunately, I've tried to shake him off a few times, but it's just never happened. but no, it's just what more can I talk about with what I used to get up to as a kid? What other stories? What stories can I tell? I can't actually remember everything, but there's a funny story. I don't know. I know Sam won't really care about me talking about this, but I will change the guy's identity just in case, because you never know. But I'm going to call this guy Mark for the video. It's not Mark, but I'm going to call him Mark. Because, like I say, I don't want to put him out there and to cause any issues that might arise. I have no idea. But anyway, I doubt it'll happen. But anyway, I'll move swiftly on with that. But yeah, so Mark. I remember one time. I can't remember how old I was. I might have been probably in my early teens at this point. Probably maybe about 12, 13, 14. And I was stood at the top of my street. Don't know why. I was already out. I think I was already been out around, just walking around with people. And then I came home. We all broke up, and everyone went back home. And then I went back home. So I'm stood at the top of my street, just chilling out on there's like a little wall thing at the top of my street that stood there. Don't know why. Just was. But so I was there, and then all of a sudden I see Mark across the street, and I shout at him and say, "Alright mate, what are you doing?" Because I was literally out with this guy only about 5 minutes ago, and he saw me and he went, "Alright mate, how you doing? I can't talk. I've got to go really quickly." There used to be a police station, like a little community police station at the top of my street. This guy was quite an athletic guy. He was very good at climbing things, climbing walls, and he was very good at escaping. I'm going to come. I think some of you will probably know what the hell I'm going to talk about in a second. But basically, he. I remember it. It's just so funny. He basically he looked at me and he went, "Hey mate, I can't talk. I've got to go. I'll see you soon, right?" And that's literally really quickly. And I went, "All right, mate." I'm like, what the hell's he up to? He then runs down past the little police station, pole vaults over this wall. I don't know how he managed it, but he managed to climb the wall in a matter of seconds. Only about 60 seconds later, two coppers run by. And one of them runs down, because I think he managed to just see him go down. And at this point I'm starting to walk back home. And then as I looked and I heard footsteps, and then I looked and there's these two coppers. And I was just like, now I know what you're doing. I don't know what he did, but for some reason, he ended up being chased around Hessle by two coppers, and he pretty much lost them over a brick wall. And I had to burst out laughing, and I thought that was hilarious. He had a reputation, this guy, for being a bit of a Jack the Lad, and he wasn't a bad kid. He was just he was just very adventurous and spirited. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, yeah, that was a funny story from my childhood. What else can I talk about? Yeah, but well, I can't really remember everything because it, I can remember certain things, little chapters, but for the most part, it was a good childhood. I had a good upbringing. I had a very supportive parents, grandparents, aunties, uncles, and all that. I had a good upbringing. I did go through some hard times with being bullied at school and everything, but pretty much everybody goes through that at one point in their lives. And my only outlet and my only way to feel like a regular kid without drowning in sorrow and sitting in a dark corner crying because some kid said something to me or someone put me up against the wall and punched me for some reason just because they didn't like me for who I was. It didn't. Those times where I could escape, going out with my friends and having a good laugh, going out on my push bike, going down Hessle foreshore, just being a kid, and it kind of allowed me to then just try for a temporarily there for a temporary there we go for a temporary time. I was able to forget about those awful things that was going on at the time, and it was great. Like I said, Hessle's not very big and not a very big area, just a little town. But just remembering things that we used to do, because there's areas where I used to used to hang out. I used to have dens at one point. Here's a little thing that I forgot to mention. I used to have dens. Anybody out there, comment below this video. Let me know if you had one as well, like a little den, and what you called your own little place of solitude, or you used to kind of play some you were just playing with friends, and that was your area, your den, kind of thing. I had a couple. I had one that was in Little Swits, funnily enough, and it was actually very high up. I was a bit of a twat when I was in there. I almost killed myself twice by accident, by slipping and almost falling down an actual, just literally like that of a bit of literally it was. I'm not even exaggerating. I was climbing and I slipped, and it was literally that was the decline down. And if I was to not have managed to catch myself in time, I would have probably broken my neck. Or even worse, something else. But I think I almost killed myself twice. But if you don't almost kill yourself, I don't think you did your childhood quite right. I know that sounds wrong, but kids get up to some stupid stuff when they don't really realise or understand dangers of certain things. But no, I used to have a den in Little Swits, and it was literally just like a closed-in area that was surrounded by loads of trees, and it was very secluded, and nobody really knew about where it was except for a couple of people, and it was basically like the trail inside the Little Swits area, little woodland area. You go down right to the centre of this thing, and it used to be a chalk quarry at one point, and you go right to the middle, and it's just like a big pond or lake, not a lake, but it's just a big pond that's filled up with rainwater over the years. And when you go up the stairs and you go back onto the trail that leads over the other side, there is literally like a big hill. And I remember climbing up there just curiously. Don't know why, but I was just climbing up there. And I found this little area that was perfect. I could see everything as well. I could see down right to the bottom. I could see over there as people were coming into the main area. I could literally, it was perfect. Nobody could see me. I was literally that protected by shrubbery and trees and everything, but I was able to observe everything in the area, and it was perfect. It was a good place to escape bullies at one point, because I remember being chased by a couple of kids from school, and I remembered it, and I went up there, and I literally got up there. I was looking at them the whole time, and I just saw them run right past me. They never saw me. So yeah, it was pretty good, that little area. And then there was one at the bottom of my street, another little den area. This den area at the bottom of the street, it was like a little garden, weird garden little thing at the bottom of the street. And at one point, it was very overgrown, and it had like massive big rocks that were put there purposely. It was like done as like a little garden, and it's at the bottom of these little council flats at the bottom of the street. And I used to go in there all the time. I used to go in there a lot with Sam, Chris, school friends, and I used to go in there. I can't remember what we used to play, but we used to go in there as well. So I used to do that, a couple of dens, and yeah, it was, just being a normal, average little kid, just going around having a laugh, and because like I said at the beginning of the video, it's a small little town where I live, and there isn't much to do. And at that point, there wasn't anything to do. I mean, I was underage to go drinking, which I probably wouldn't have done at that age. I didn't really think about it, but I was unable to really go into certain areas that were only for 18 and up. There wasn't anything to do at all. There really wasn't. It wasn't until I finished secondary school when they started to do after-school clubs and activities. I've no idea if they still do it now, but they started to do it when I literally was just about to leave school, when I was about 16. That's when it started to try and help kids get off the streets, because there was a big problem with gangs of kids hanging around. So, yeah, that's that. It's probably a boring video for you, but it's nice for me to kind of reminisce about when times were more innocent and not as serious, and times where I was at my most happiest as a person and as a kid. And yeah, that's that. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you did enjoy. But like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you are interested in checking out my community page, go to Facebook, go to the search bar, search TF Nosey, and you can then follow along and keep up to date on all the videos that I do and upload. I will be uploading some of my latest vlogs. I'm not going to go past library. I'm just going to post from now onwards vlogs that I do. So, because the whole idea of that thing, like I said, is to support both channels and give people an option of what videos they want to watch. So yeah, check that out, and also check the description below, because I'll have links to those videos that I spoke about as well, about Little Switzerland, the area that I was talking about. And yes, thank you very much. As always, you have been awesome, I've been nosy, and you have been you, and I have been the thing that is weird and strange. But yeah, see you later. Peace. Bye-bye.